Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Mark here.
I'm Ben.
We are unpacking some of the keys parts for the song Here and Expectant. You probably noticed they're very simple. It's the same motif pretty much that repeats over and over and over again. Beautiful. That's it right there. Just with a couple different things. Ben, as we approach this song live, maybe we could just unpack today how you'd build a session for it, how you would approach it, how you'd actually play it. Because there's a lot of interplay between some of the art parts and some of the kind of the hooks and the verses and the choruses. How you just would approach that? Would you just pick one and leave the other three in the tracks? Would you do kind of a hybrid? What's the approach to
Yeah, so I mean, each song is different, kind of how you attack it and try to figure out stuff for it. I have a template that I always kind of go off of to start, and it kind of simply looks like there's a pad, and then there's your main sound you're using, and then usually there's an extra layer that's kind of in the higher registers of the keys. And for this song, I wanted to kind of layer. So like took some of the parts, there's, I don't know, 5 or 6 different parts maybe on that recording. But stuff like ARPs, I leave those in the tracks because just trying to get them to work live is always kind of a struggle, and it's going to honestly sound better just in multi-tracks or in your Ableton session. And so I took some of the sounds, and when I was like listening for it, I said, okay, I can layer these 2 sounds, and that's kind of what happens in the recording anyways, is that they make that sound. So, and then it's just a matter of mixing it in and trying to get it to sound, like the recording.
So show us what you did here in your session.
Yep. So
to lay it out.
I kind of always have a little bit of a pad going, depending on for like transitions or different things like that. And then I have knobs that I can adjust on the fly as we're going.
So you basically routed the fader on each of those channels to be knobs. So you have real-time control on your controller.
Yep, for sure. So, and I recommend using knobs versus faders because a lot of times when you go to reset, so if you have a fader up like this and you go to your next patch, what can end up happening is when you try to reset it, you're going to get like a spike of volume, and that can be really distracting. So if you use knobs to turn up and down your stuff, it can be a little bit more seamless and stuff. So that's what I do. So basically I went in, and so for starters, I've got this Alchemy patch.
Which, by the way, most of the sounds from this song were from Alchemy, which is the stock stuff in Logic or in Main Stage. And that's where I think where most all of the sounds came from on this.
Yep, for sure. And then I also have the bells. So there's this kind of like fun little bell sound. And then I just mixed it into where I felt like it kind of replicated what was on the recording. And then just kind of play the line. And so that's typically what that happens in the turns, kind of happens in the choruses and stuff. And then just for a live thing, a lot of times I'll just kind of play chords in the verses or different parts. And depending on the live setting, sometimes it works to play a little bit more than what's on the recording. Sometimes it's nice to have a breath when it's live. And so sometimes in second verses, I'll just lay off entirely and not play anything. But then there's other times where I'll add. So it's just kind of knowing too, like what's best for that song. And so for this song, I would play the lead lines when they're happening, let the ARPs happen on the tracks. And then I would just kind of lay some pads down in the verses.
Well, interestingly enough, even when you said what's best for the song, you kind of come to a weekend rehearsal or service plan with your kind of what you have laid out. But even what's best for the song is a little bit of a fluctuating thing depending on who's on your team.
Absolutely.
Because some guitar players will cover more space or less. So even coming into it with a little bit of an open hand, like here's what I'm planning to do. I've got my sounds, got my basic things locked and loaded, and I might need to give a little bit more or give a little bit less.
Back off depending on who you're playing with and stuff like that. And sometimes what the song needs is it needs to be filled out, and then sometimes it needs a breath.
So in this song, are there any parts that were kind of in the tracks that you would have just said, forget it, leave it? I think you said the ARPs. Anything else that you would just leave alone?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing is that Typically I won't double anything besides kind of like maybe a pad sound.
Yeah.
And so I would, if I were asking whoever was running Ableton, or if I was running Ableton, I would get rid of the lead sounds instead of trying to double those, because it's, you know, tracked and exactly on a click versus like trying to play it live. And
well,
stuff.
we even experienced that in the tutorial video. If you can go back and watch it again, the ARPs weren't spot on perfect, because when you take MIDI and quantize it, it's different than when you're playing it here.
Yeah,
and so even tracking it for the original, like quantizing it and fixing it up responds different than trying to play it live. It doesn't sound as great in the tutorial video playing live because it just doesn't work.
You can't just get it exactly on the beat.
Yeah.
And it's quantized in all recordings. So
love it. Anything else that you'd add about this song, or a song like this, as we think about kind of how to prepare and be ready to go?
I mean, I just think that when you're taking a song that has a lot of synth and stuff like that, just play the main parts, the parts that stick out to you, that aren't ARPs, that do that stuff. If there's a piano line that you hear in the stuff, play that. You know, the things that catch your ear, that you go, okay, these are the songs. This is like the main part of the song. Like grab that and play that, because that's going to be the memorable part that people are, you know, wanting to hear from you as a keys player.
That's great. I think I heard you say it before, Ben, like play what's most important. So play that main part, play what's important, play it simply, and serve the song and serve the moment that you're in. And that's about it. It's about right there. So
yeah, for sure.
Amazing. Thanks everybody for joining us today.